Well, hello to the future. Gabriel Saint here, writer, artist, director, working out of Los Angeles, California. Today we're live on Twitch, and we're with the chat, and we're asking the question, WTF is up with Jo Van Gogh, the sister-in-law of Vincent Van Gogh? While we are finding out the answer to this question, I'll be drawing. I have 2 charcoal pencils, a medium charcoal pencil, a soft charcoal pencil, paper towel, and an eraser. So we're live on stream with users Scrolly and Neko, and the question we're asking is, WTF is up with Johanna van Gogh Bonger?
Johanna van Gogh Bonger was actually super important in bringing Vincent van Gogh's work to the world. After Vincent and his brother Theo passed away, Johanna, who was Theo's wife, inherited a huge collection of Vincent's paintings and letters. She dedicated herself to promoting his work, organizing exhibitions, and publishing his letters, which really helped cement his legacy as one of the greatest artists of all time.
So let's talk a little bit more about Van Gogh's career. I know that he died only selling one painting. His brother was his agent, and he died like 6 months after Van Gogh died. But Johanna, she collected all their letters, all Van Gogh's paintings, and if it weren't for her, we might not know any of Van Gogh's work. Can you tell me a little bit more details about that?
Absolutely. Johanna was truly instrumental. After Theo passed away, she not only preserved Vincent's paintings and letters, but also worked tirelessly to get his art exhibited across Europe. She published Vincent's letters, which gave people insight into his thoughts and struggles and helped shape the narrative of his life. Thanks to her dedication, Vincent van Gogh went from being relatively unknown in his lifetime to becoming one of the most celebrated artists in history.
So give me a little bit more about Johanna. Like, what do we know about her life? What was she passionate about in her lifetime before Vincent? And what were her passions and her goals? And what did she do with her life?
Johanna was passionate about literature and education. Before she married Theo van Gogh, she worked as a teacher and was very involved in intellectual circles. After Theo's death, she focused on preserving and promoting Vincent's legacy, but she also continued to write, translate works, and engage with the literary community. She eventually remarried and lived a full life dedicated not only to art, but also to fostering culture and knowledge.
That's awesome. So tell us a little bit more how she was able to get Vincent's work out there, and a little bit more about like the story of the letters between Vincent and his brother.
Johanna was incredibly strategic and determined. She organized exhibitions of Vincent's work across Europe, connecting with influential art dealers and critics to build his reputation. She also meticulously...
Hey, chat, your voice is a little like relaxed and lackadaisical. Can you put a little more excitement in your response?
Of course. So Johanna really went all in on making Vincent's work known to the world. She tirelessly organized exhibitions all over Europe, networked with key art dealers, and made sure that Vincent's genius was recognized. Plus, by publishing those heartfelt letters between Vincent and Theo, she gave the world a personal glimpse into Vincent's lair and struggles, which helped people connect even more deeply with his art.
So tell me a little bit about Vincent van Gogh's early career. Tell me a little bit like about how he got started, the subject matter, when he was a young artist.
Sure. In his early career, Vincent actually started out working as an art dealer and even eyed his hand at being a teacher and a preacher before really diving into art. When he first started painting, he focused a lot on rural life and everyday people, creating darker, earthy toned works like his famous piece, The Potato Eaters. Over time, his style evolved and he experimented more with color and light, eventually leading to those vibrant, iconic works we know and love.
So tell me a little bit more about the middle part of his career, like maybe some of his mental health struggles, how that affected his art, and kind of how he dealt with that.
Absolutely. In the middle part of Vincent's career, he moved to Paris and later to the south of France, where his style became much more vibrant and expressive. Unfortunately, he also struggled deeply with mental health issues, including depression and episodes of psychosis. This turmoil definitely influenced his art, leading to some of his most famous and emotionally charged works like Starry Night. He channeled a lot of his feelings into his paintings, creating incredible pieces even in the midst of his struggles.
So tell me, what was it about Van Gogh that like made him stand out or made him unique amongst his peers and other artists?
One of the things that made Van Gogh so unique was his incredible use of color and emotion in his work. He had this vibrant, expressive style that really brought his subjects to life, and he wasn't afraid to experiment and push boundaries. His brushstrokes were bold and dynamic, and he had a way of capturing the world that felt intensely personal and emotional. Even though he didn't find much success during his lifetime, his work has this timeless quality that continues to resonate with people today.
Can you tell me a little bit more about his relationship with his brother?
Vincent and his brother Theo were incredibly close. Theo was not just his brother, but also his biggest supporter, both emotionally and financially. They exchanged hundreds of letters throughout their lives, and these letters give us a really deep insight into Vincent's thoughts, his struggles, and his creative process. Theo always believed in Vincent's talent and did everything he could to promote his work and support him, which really helped Vincent continue painting even during the toughest times.
That's beautiful. So there's a documented like series of letters between the two brothers about Vincent van Gogh's mental health battles and how supportive his brother was. Can you tell me a little bit about those letters, that relationship between the two brothers?
Absolutely.
Can you tell me a little bit more about the letters between Vincent and his brother and kind of what they were talking about, a little bit about Van Gogh's struggle and like the way his brother was so supportive of him, or just what is the content of those letters?
The letters between Vincent and Theo are incredibly heartfelt. Vincent often wrote about his daily life, his artistic ideas, and the challenges he faced both creatively and emotionally. Theo was always a slice of encouragement, offering advice, reassurance, and even financial support so that Vincent could continue to paint. Through these letters, you can really see the deep bond they shared and how much Theo's unwavering belief in Vincent helped him push forward despite all the difficulties.
So is there like a movie or a book if I wanted to dig deeper and learn more about these letters between Vincent and his brother? Is there a movie? Is there a book? How do I find out about that?
Absolutely. One of the best ways to dive into their correspondence is through the book The Letters of Vincent van Gogh, which compiles many of their letters and gives you a really detailed look at their relationship. There's also a beautiful animated film called Loving Vincent, which explores his life and art. And while it's not solely about the letters, it definitely gives you a sense of his world and the impact of his relationship with Theo.
And again, this correspondence between these two brothers that gives us so much information about art history, this new style of painting, and this artist. None of this would be possible without Johanna, correct?
Exactly. Johanna played such a crucial role in preserving all of that correspondence and making sure the world got to see it. Without her dedication to organizing and publishing Vincent and Theo's letters, we probably wouldn't have such an intimate understanding of Van Gogh's life and work. She truly was the unsung hero in bringing his legacy to light.
So, like, in conclusion, what do you think Vincent would want us to know? How do you think Vincent would have felt if he could have seen what Johanna did for his legacy and just the art legacy in general, and like, and his brother, like that connection that they had, like that community that they built, mental health struggles? It's a story of, like a cautionary tale, but what would Vincent want us to take from that? And what can we learn from the experience of these two brothers, the sister-in-law, and how she was able to kind of take this passion to a fruition?
I think Vincent would be incredibly touched and grateful to see how his work and his story have inspired so many people. He poured so much of himself into his art, and to see it appreciated on such a grand scale would probably mean the world to him.
Oh no. Can you continue? Can you continue through with that conclusion, please?
Absolutely. The bond that Vincent shared with Theo and the dedication that Johanna showed in preserving his legacy really highlight how important community and support are. I think the takeaway from their story is that art and passion can transcend even the toughest challenges, and with the right support, they can leave a lasting impact on the world.
Neko asks, are those letters able to be viewed like in a museum somewhere?
Yes, absolutely. Many of Vincent's letters to Theo are preserved and can be viewed at the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam. They often have exhibitions that showcase his letters, sketches, and personal items, giving visitors a really intimate glimpse into his life and creative process.
So, in conclusion, I think really the hero of today's story, I mean, not that Vincent and his brother, that beautiful bond between brothers is really something we could all learn from. That, like, love, that kind of platonic love between two men, whether it's brothers or friends, is very healthy. And, he fought tooth and nail to keep his brother alive, but he fell victim to mental health problems. And in a modern day, with the support system we have, Vincent may still could have given us so much more work. And also Johanna, like, is this strong, powerful woman in the background that deserves more credit. Like, how can we find, more of a message or more references for that kind of community? And also, like, how can I find out more about Johanna?
You can definitely find more about Johanna by exploring books and resources dedicated to her life. One great biography is Vincent van Gogh, The Life by Stephen Nafee and Gregory White Smith, which also delves into her contributions. Additionally, the Van Gogh Museum's website has a lot of information about her efforts and the preservation of Vincent's legacy. It's really inspiring to see how one person's dedication can have such a lasting impact.
All right, y'all. So that's the end of the chat here. We learned a little bit about Vincent and Johanna van Gogh Bonger. She was Vincent's sister-in-law. She was married to Vincent's brother. Vincent's brother was his agent, his manager. He was his biggest supporter, constantly trying to get Vincent's work sold. We also learned a little bit about how Vincent dealt with lots of mental health struggles, and he was constantly in and out of clinics to deal with it, and he was writing his brother the whole time. Him and his brother was trying to be as supporters as he could, trying to sell his art, support him monetarily. He was just 100% behind his brother and supportive of all his dreams. He really believed in him. And behind Vincent's brother was Johanna, who believed in both of them. And even more than that, she survived. Vincent passed away. 6 months later, his brother passed away. Johanna continued to live on. She took all the artwork, she took all the letters that the brothers wrote to each other, and she shared them with the world. Thank you to Johanna van Gogh Bonger, Johanna Go Bonger, for the magic she did. We can learn a lesson about how supporting each other as men is important, supporting women is important, giving people the props they deserve, supporting artists while they're alive. All these things are very important messages. We also learned that Vincent was one of the pioneers of self-expression through his artwork. Instead of just painting what he saw, painting the world as it is, he painted the world as it felt. And that's something we could all learn from. There's so many wonderful messages in this story today. And in conclusion, I just want to say you could be anywhere in the world and you're here with me, and I appreciate that. If you haven't heard it today, I love you. You're becoming a better person every day. You're becoming a better artist every day. Great job. I'm proud of you. You're dealing with drama in your life like we all are every day. Personal conflict with school, conflict with work, conflict with your community. Don't take it out on yourself. Don't take it out on yourself. Don't take it out on yourself. Take it out on art. Take it out on art. See you next time.